What's up, boys and girls? Alex Smith here with Predestined Firearms, and I'm here to talk to you today about House Bill 1927. House Bill 1927 became an act September 1st, was signed into law. It's now the Firearm Carry Act of 2021. This is for Texas only. This isn't for the whole United States. And I want to discuss some things you might not know that have changed. I've had a few questions, so I want to put this out there to answer any questions. Starting off with number one is, if you can't currently own a gun legally, this bill or this act does not change that. If the law says before you can't carry a firearm or have one or own one, purchase one, then you still cannot. Those laws are still the same. If you can't get a gun, you should know this. You cannot. None of that changed. If you do not have a LTC, some of this you might not know already, because when you go to get an LTC, there are laws in place. During the class, you learn those laws, and so you need to be educated. Not only should you shoot already, you should know how to shoot. You don't want any collateral damage if something did happen. Don't be a terrible shot and miss the bad guy, let's say, and hit an innocent person. So get your training in, educate yourself, and then you can go from there. If you are carrying, yes, you're not supposed to come up and be harassed by, let's say, any peace officers, but they can lawfully disarm you in a situation, let's say, where something was going on. They see you're armed, they will ask for your weapon, they will take it until that situation is over, and they have to give it back. So it is legal for them to take it out of your hands and disarm you if they feel there's danger going to happen. It's not against the law if they do want to disarm you temporarily for whatever the situation may be. So if you wanted to get an LTC before, I would still suggest you get one. This might allow you to now carry without an LTC, but again, I said LTC gives you the class, just the legal training. They do make sure that you can shoot, but there are some other bonuses, some pros of still having an LTC. For one, being a dealer, I myself know that it's way easier. If you have an LTC, I would prefer you to be my customer if you're buying a gun, just because it's less paperwork and less time it takes on both of our parts. So if you go into a store and you have your LTC already, you don't have to do the background check because you've had that background check already done. It makes it for a quicker experience when buying a firearm. Another bonus for having an LTC, which you might not think about if you travel a lot, if you do any interstate travel, that LTC, usually, depending on the states, there are some crazy states, we know that, they don't respect every state's license to carry. So there are states that you need to know what their rules are, and if they respect a Texas LTC. That's just in general knowledge. But having an LTC will let you pretty much, let's just say, majority overall, you can travel through any state following the Texas guidelines, as long as you're not obviously committing a crime or anything. Another bonus, if you're a college student, you must have an LTC to conceal carry only. You cannot open carry on a college campus. You can conceal carry if you're a college student on a college campus only. That's the only type of schooling it's allowed at if you're a student. Even with this law passing, an employer can still prohibit you from carrying at your place of employment. This also goes along with any private business can prohibit you from entering their business and carrying. So don't get confused that, oh, well, the law passed, I can carry now. It's constitutional carry. No, your owner is like, no, this is my business. You can't carry anything in here. You have to still follow those rules. Another thing, in case you didn't know, your pistol has to be holstered. This is with an LTC or not. This hasn't changed. This is something you should always keep holstered. Even if you're driving in a vehicle and you're carrying that, and this is again for everyone, this is just general information. If you have a pistol, let's say you're moving it from one spot to another, and you start flashing it around in your hand, you can get in trouble for that. There can be legal action taken against you. So don't be waving around even inside your vehicle. You really shouldn't even be holding it in your hand unless you're ready to use it anyway. Next one. Now you should see these, especially if you go to a bar. There's different signs, or even not even a bar, but let's say you like to go to Top Golf. They have it real big on those big windows. You come in, they have their 30-06 and 30-07 warning that you cannot carry into that establishment. That means no open carry, and that's the 30-07. That means you cannot open carry. And they have the 30-06, which means you can't conceal carry. So with both of those, you can't carry a pistol into that place, or a gun, because that would be open carry if it was a rifle. There's also what they call the 51% rule, and some of them have this 51% sign or placard when you go in, and don't have the 30-06 or 30-07, but it doesn't matter, and that's your typical type of bar, whether it's a sports bar or an establishment where 51% or more of their sales are on alcohol, and you're able to consume the alcohol there at that place. One thing that did change is the fact that you can now carry into an establishment that sells alcohol, but it can't be consumed on that premise, such as a gas station. You can't drink while you're there. So that means you can now carry into that store because they sell it. It's not selling and drinking. Same no carry zones. Again, if you haven't taken any class, you might not know. I don't want you getting in trouble if you think, oh, now I can strap a gat to my hip and go wherever I want. Yes, you can, but at the same time, you cannot. What are some examples? First of all, again, go educate yourself, read into this more, find out for yourself. But you can't go to schools, no public sporting event or a school sporting event. And now when I say school, I mean you can't go into the building, right? If you're in line to pick up your kid and it's in your car, obviously that's not an issue. But once you step inside that school, now you're breaking the law. Same with if you're going to a high school football game, you cannot bring concealed or especially open. I don't know why you'd take it open there, but you're now breaking the law. Some other places you cannot would be an airport, any ballot or polling place. So when you go to vote, you have to keep your weapon, leave it in your vehicle. You can't enter that place where you're voting. You also cannot take it into any place where there's a governmental meeting going on. Now, one place the federal law prohibits is the post office. And actually, the post office is not just talking about the building, it's also talking about even the parking lot. So you're not supposed to enter the parking lot of a post office with a firearm. Silencers. It's a new thing Texas passed also, is if you have a silencer made in Texas, and I say silencer, suppressor, it's all the same thing. Anything you attach to the weapon to make it sound quieter than before is considered a suppressor or silencer. This includes the oil filters, which work great for .22 with subsonics, FYI, just saying. Here's the issue though, okay? Federal law states you cannot have this. So you're still supposed to get an approval through the ATF, get that tax stamp, and you can have that silencer legally. Now what Texas is saying is any Texas local government, law enforcement, whoever it is, will not enforce those federal ATF laws. As in, they won't report you as long as you still have the stamp on the silencer. It should say where it was made, should say in Texas, and have a serial number. If you're a college student, you can conceal carry with an LTC. Otherwise, you cannot. And the interstate travel. If you have an LTC and you're traveling with your personal safety firearm, then most states respect that. And that concludes my video. Hope you all learned something. And if you don't care or didn't learn anything, that's okay. Glad you got to see my face. That's all. Signing out. Predestined Firearms. Have a good week. Happy Labor Day.